Are you struggling with self-discipline in your weight loss journey? I think that any of us who have ever been on a weight loss journey could put our hands up and say, oh yes, that's me. So if that's you, then you're in the right place, because I'm going to share with you my best tip for increasing your self-discipline. Okay, and welcome back to Healthy Christian Living with Ruth and Casey. My name is Casey, and for those of you that don't know my story, I lost 85 pounds after a difficult first pregnancy, and as I record this video, I am currently working on losing the weight after a second pregnancy too. I gained 65 pounds in the second one, and I've got about 20 pounds left to lose. And on this channel, we talk about healthy Christian living in a whole bunch of different concepts, but one of the big things that we talk about is getting back to a healthy weight, so that we can live out the purpose that God has for our lives. Because it's hard to live out your purpose when you don't feel well, when you're embarrassed about how you look, when you're in pain. All of these things that we experience when we're carrying extra weight, it's hard to step out and live out the purpose that God has for our lives when we don't have our health. And I can say that because I have experienced all of those feelings, and I experienced how much more challenging it is to step out and use the gifts that God's given me when I'm not living at a healthy weight. So I am here today to share with you my best tip for how I have worked at increasing self-discipline on my weight loss journey. And I'm going to keep this short, and I want to share with you a little visual about what the tip is. Wisdom over willpower. Wisdom is greater than willpower. And I want to give credit to Pastor Craig Groeschel. He often talks about using wisdom over willpower in all areas of our life. And I have applied this to my weight loss journey, and it has radically transformed how I think and how I act. And therefore, I've been getting better results because of this principle. So you might be saying, okay, well, what does that actually look like? Well, here's how it looks. For me, using wisdom over willpower looks like when I go to the grocery store, chips are my weakness. Let me just say that. Maybe yours is chocolate, maybe yours is ice cream, maybe it's candy, whatever it is. Mine is chips. So when I go to the grocery store, I use the wisdom to stay away from the chip aisle and shop based on my list. I use the wisdom of not going to the grocery store when I'm hungry, so that I do not leave the grocery store with a whole bunch of bags of chips to fill up my cupboards with at home. Because when I am home that evening, when I'm home the next day, when I'm hungry in the afternoon, my willpower, my self-discipline is only going to take me so far. I could probably walk past the bag of chips in my cupboard one time, maybe two times, but when they start calling my name and they're right there in the cupboard, then my willpower is going to wane. In fact, I like to think about willpower like a muscle. We can strengthen it, we can develop it, but willpower is not going to get us through all of the situations and scenarios that we find ourselves in. If you think about willpower like a muscle, and if you were hanging off the edge of a cliff, just using that muscle of willpower to hold you there for 3 days waiting for help, it's going to fail you. Just like it's going to fail you when the chips are sitting up there in the junk food cupboard on those days when you're hungry or feel stressed or whatever the reason is. And so using the wisdom of not buying them at the store ahead of time, that removes the temptation, because now the chips are not in my cupboard. So what else could this look like? This could look like, if you have a friend that you like to go out for dessert with once a week, and that's like what you do, it's a tradition, and you know that when you get there, you will not be able to say no to that dessert, then use the wisdom over willpower. Use the wisdom to call your friend and say, hey, I'm trying really hard to make good, healthy choices for my body right now. Could we go for a walk instead of dessert this week? Use the wisdom to remove the temptation before the temptation presents itself when you're weak. That's what using wisdom over willpower looks like on a weight loss journey. So for you, I'm sure you can think of times when you feel super tempted. I often talk about Bible study as like one of the hardest places to go, or church events, because there's always food at church events. And as believers, we use food for everything. And so sometimes that can be one of the hardest places to go. So what would it look like to use wisdom over willpower when you're heading to Bible study once a week and you know that there's going to be homemade goodies there that you're going to have a hard time saying no to? Well, maybe it means that you're going to call up the person who coordinates the food and say, hey, can I be in charge this week and bring a healthy snack and then bring fruit and veggies? What else could wisdom over willpower look like? Maybe it looks like you're going to bring your own healthier snack so that you have something while everybody else is eating the goodies so you don't feel left out. Maybe it means that you are going to make sure that before you go that you have eaten a good meal and you're not hungry. Maybe it means that you're going to bring your favorite kind of tea so that you can hold on to a cup of tea while everybody else is having the goodies. Use wisdom ahead of time so that the temptation is either not there or that it's not as strong when you are actually presented with the temptation in the moment. So, like I said, that principle has radically transformed my self-discipline in and on my weight loss journey. And I know that if you start thinking about temptations and self-discipline through the lens of wisdom over willpower, that it will radically transform your weight loss journey as well. So I hope that this has been helpful. I know this is a short video, but what I really wanted to end with is that I wanted to invite you to check out our Revive workshop. It's a 3-day workshop that Ruth and I have put together all about what it means to live on purpose, to have confidence in who God has created you to be so that you can live out the purpose that He has for your life. It's all about having a healthy mind, body, and soul so that we can honor God with our lives. And so it's a free workshop. You can check out the link below in the description. And if you're still here watching, I would also invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, click the bell notification so that you get notified when we post new content. And until next time, treat your body like a temple, not a trash can.